Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Okay. I need to close some of these windows. I got a bunch of stuff open. Okay. Uh, Let me see. That can go. Might affect how fast my computer is working. That can go. I might need those. I think I needed that. All right. So, um, that can go. That stays. Um, Man, I got a bunch of stuff open. That can go. You're out of here. You're out of here. You're definitely out of here. Okay, move that over there. Hmm. Does that settle it? I think so. Okay. Oh no, let me close that too. Go, go, and go. Yes. All right. Thank you for your patience. Didn't realize I had so much open. So I did post that video earlier. I said we would discuss it. I hope you all had a chance to watch it. Um, Let me see. What was the name of that video? Um, oh, not perfect. Well, it was called "The Princess of Wales Never Claimed to Be Perfect." Okay. Matter of fact, let me pin that one to my profile. They're over there. Ha! There we go. All right, it's all settled. Now let me bring up my slides and we're good to go. And I'm gonna guess about an hour. I think we're gonna be here for about an hour. Ooh. Slides. This poor computer, I'm gonna burn this computer out like I did the other one. I am gonna burn this computer out just like I did the other one. I'm telling you, this thing gets some use. All right. Fancy, thank you so much for being first. Greatly appreciate that. And I'll say hi to everyone else as I go along. All right. Do your thing. I'm waiting for the slides to come up. Come on. Hi, Vivian G. There we go. Got a little nervous for a second there. All right. Perfection. So, who's not speaking? Well, you know what? There's a thing going back and forth. I won't say it's really back and forth, but it has taken a curious turn. A little while ago, I saw something saying that actually, let me do this. Let me do this, and I'll tell you exactly what it said. I want to make sure I get this right. And I did read the article, so you don't have to. But in so many words, the article implied that Meghan wishes Prince Harry could let go of legal security battle and wants Duke to be free, sources say. Now, to me, that sounds like wishful thinking. Who would want Harry to drop all this stuff? I could name one right now. Now, of course, this is all alleged. I don't know this to be true. I'm just guessing the same way that they're guessing. They're guessing, oh, Meghan just wants to concentrate on something else. She wants Harry to drop all of these legal cases, right? Wrong. I don't believe that's true. However, if I had to think of someone who would love for Harry to drop all this stuff, Lord Nappyhead. That's right, Lord Nappyhead of the Daily Fail. And of course, the master puppeteer, Rupert Murdoch. Um, and there's a lot of people, editors, Pierce Morgan. There's a lot of people who would love for Harry to drop the case. But why Harry? Why not all of the other defendants? Why Harry? Or should I say plaintiffs? Why Harry and not all the other plaintiffs? Why not Doreen Lawrence? Huh? Why not Elton John and David Furnish? Why not just about everybody else who has an axe to grind with the tabloid media? Why does it have to be Harry is the only one who has a spouse or partner that has leaked to by word of mouth? Oh, I wish he let this go. I want him to be free. But the thing is, freedom always comes at a cost. Freedom always comes at a cost. And in this case, the price that has to be paid is the lawyers for Harry and the other um, plaintiffs, accusers, who have been bullied, belittled, um, embarrassed, people who have lost relationships and connections over the years. Um, there's a lot of people that have been affected. And the problem is the courts over there, you can win and still have a lot of money to pay out. You can lose and have a lot of money to pay out. The system is stacked up against the person who has been victimized, right? And yet you have these corporations, these news media giants that will pay a lot of money for something they don't have any knowledge of, that they certainly have not done, and just to be nice, just so that you will go away and not mention it again, here's X amount of money, and just sign this right here. This means you can never discuss this again. Otherwise, we'll have you right back in here one more time. Lex says British media, U.S. tabloids focus on Harry and Meghan, not the British royal family finances. Thank you very much, Legs. And I think that's the reason why this article, among others, it seems like whenever it is convenient to them, all of a sudden they want to turn up the juice and they want to put Harry and Meghan in the spotlight for just about anything that they can think of, so long as we're not talking about what the royal family is doing. Absolutely. Just like when Robert Jobson, remember he said, what about the, haven't heard anything else about those bullying claims? Whatever happened to that? I remember that. It was just out of the blue. It was something that they wanted to keep off of the front pages. And so all of a sudden, without warning, Robert Jobson starts asking about bullying claims. It was the most bizarre thing, literally out of the blue. Robert Jobson suddenly is asking about bullying claims, claims that he knows is certainly not true. And it wasn't anything that he focused on a great deal, but all of a sudden, Robert Jobson couldn't stop thinking about bullying claims. The man who has memorized the value menu at McDonald's found room inside of his head to think about bullying claims that do not exist, just like one would expect that Robert Jobson, since you want to ask questions like that, why not ask the question, Why in the world did these bullying claims surface just a day or two before the Oprah Winfrey interview? Anybody who has a brain cell knows that that was something that was made up because they didn't know what Harry and Meghan would say. And I'm pretty sure that there may have been some parts of that interview that we'll never see because the 3.5 hours was edited down to something much smaller. We may never see it. And that's unfortunate because if they were willing to speak about that much truth, I would like to hear some of the stuff that they said. You know what? Um, and I'm not even saying Harry and Meghan felt that way. It may have been Oprah or her crew that felt as though, you know what, this right here is just a little bit too hot. We're going to leave this out. But the point is, the information is there. And also, there's over 400 pages of Prince Harry's book that also has has not, surfaced. So there you go. We haven't seen that yet either. So whenever, however, hopefully someday, and I hope it'll be in my lifetime. I'd like to know what was said. Okay. There we go. So, happy birthday, Jerry White. Jerry White's birthday is today. Jerry is 83 years old. Now, Jerry needs your prayers because Jerry has found herself under the weather again and under the doctor's care. So, please do send your prayers out for her. Again, this is her 83rd birthday today on July the 31st, her 83rd birthday. Also, she has a reason to be very proud because she's got 5 grandchildren in college and or university, whichever applies. I think it's university, college. Anyway, she's got 5 grandchildren. This is what she told me. She has 5 grandchildren, so she's very proud about that. So the family is putting the 5 grandkids through school, and she is 83 years young. So happy birthday, Jerry White. Also, it looks like there is another birthday here somewhere. Lydia Washington said, it is Claudia Sims' birthday. Happy birthday, Claudia Sims, and many happy returns of the day. So let's do this for both of them, shall we? We are going to bring Ivy up for this one. All right. That'll give me a chance to have a sip of water. All right, ready? Here goes. Hello, Ivy here. Hello, Ivy. Girl, the Duchess of Sussex won. Meet me at the Royal Sussex party. Nelly's gonna be there. All right, Ivy out. You know what? I have not come down from my high yet. As you know, All right. Again, happy birthday to Jerry White and Claudia Sims. And many, many, many happy returns of the day. And don't forget, you all, please make sure you send out some powerful prayers for Jerry White because she is not well right now. But hopefully, They say in about 24 hours she might feel much better. So let's hope so. Let's get her. Let's get her past this episode. All right. So Washington Post CEO accused in court of deceiving police about UK hacking scandal. Right now, check out the date. It says July the 30th. And what do you know? What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. Better get your lawyer on the phone. What was sun and flowers where there used to be rain? Ah, it is heaven when you find a police investigation on your menu. Yes, it's heaven when you find a police investigation on the menu. What a difference a day make. You are screwed. Okay, so Scotland Yard has opened up a criminal inquiry into whether Washington Post publisher and chief executive Will Lewis obstructed justice 13 years ago as he helped Rupert Murdoch grapple with an escalating phone hacking scandal at his UK tabloids. See what happens when you make a lot of noise? Now, one more time. Who's trying to say Harry should not go forward? The former Prime Minister Gordon Brown himself, a target of hacking by tabloids, announced the news in a piece in The Guardian, blazoned across the top of every edition of The Washington Post is the statement, "Democracy dies in darkness." Brown wrote, but what if the publisher himself is a master of the dark arts, which I suspect he is. Um, as first reported in The Guardian, the police commissioner wrote to Brown that the investigation, which had been requested by the former prime minister, would be handled by a special inquiry team. Brown says that team sits under the Central Specialist Crime Command. About time, you guys, about time. The investigation represents the most serious threat yet to Lewis, standing atop the Washington Post, one of the most august institutions in America. Or should I say august? August institutions in America, American journalism. Since Lewis assumed the role in January, he has been dogged by allegations stemming from his years old scandal. He has broadly denied wrongdoing and consistently declined to comment. NPR has requested comment from Lewis about the new Scotland Yard inquiry and will incorporate it once he responds. Well, don't hold your breath. The UK, where Lewis worked, says in a statement, News UK, where Lewis worked, says in a statement that Brown is seeking to persuade police to take sides in a public debate in relation to media accountability and help plaintiffs suing the company. So, is that why that came up? I wonder if that's why they but why Meghan? Why single out Meghan? Why um, uh, why the assertion that Meghan is, for lack of a better word, just a little bit tired of this and wants Harry to do something else with his life? Harry says that nobody is in a better position to take on these people than he is. He has the time, he has the money, and let us not forget, Harry also has celebrity. If Harry wasn't showing up on occasion at these court hearings and court procedures, they would love to just bury all of this once and for all. But as long as Harry pops in every now and again, and as long as Harry's fantastic superstar attorney, lawyer, barrister, as long as David Sherborne is on the case, uh, was that Marva and the Vandellas that said nowhere to run, nowhere to hide? Was that Marva and the Vandellas? Well, anyway, whenever this case and that case and other cases are finally settled, I guess we will go back to dancing in the street. They're dancing in Chicago, down in New Orleans. Don't forget the Motor City. All we need is justice. We need justice every day. Oh, man. So, you guys, when they're so desperate that they start trying to quote Megan, see, I think what they wait for the okey doke. Let me tell you what they're probably trying to do. They're probably trying to imply or threat that wouldn't it be better off if there was positive news about Megan while she has this kickoff to her lifestyle channel? Or do they have some inkling that Megan feels that way for real? I mean, what is at play? I don't know. But the thing is, I would find it so hard to believe because, as we all know, Harry and Meghan are safely ensconced in Montecito, where there are no leaks. And thus far, they have not really learned anything from Montecito or anybody else. There has been virtually no leaks from the Sussexes since they left Narnia. Think of all of the places they have popped up, and nobody had a clue. All sorts of things going on. You would think, with all the valets, the waiters, the butchers, the bakers, and the candlestick makers, somebody would have dropped a dime by now. Harry and Meghan, did you know that? The Sussexes, did you know that? And it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You see, um, what's his name? Hugh Grant said, do you all remember this? Hugh Grant said that his one of his girlfriends or whatever got mugged, and they were hesitant to call the police because if they call the police, that chances are someone from a tabloid is going to show up before the police get there. Now, with all of the things that you can say negative about these United States, about our police departments, police brutality, and such, one thing that I don't recall happening is where a celebrity in these modern times, I'm sure in the past it may have happened, but okay, we have the perp walk where a celebrity leaves the jail and suddenly there's cameras everywhere. Or they arrest that celebrity and suddenly but in the middle of an emergency, when you need to report a crime, you mean to tell me the cameras get there first? The paparazzi get there first? I don't know too many situations like that. I'm not saying it's never happened, but Hugh Grant said that, which means what? That there are people within the police department. I would have never in a million years have ever believed that the Met Police, Scotland Yard, or any of those interests could behave that way. I'm always of the opinion that that's Britain. Everything is so old, worldly, and from the days of yore and such. And there's such a code of honor. Surely things like that doesn't happen. I have had my eyes opened. I promise you, I've had my eyes opened. I didn't know not only does it happen, but that it's so prevalent. And it's not typically the average layperson, it is anyone that is targeted by the tabloid media. The tabloids push around the royal family. The tabloids push around the all of the ministers and government. All of the house of all of these people are being pushed around by the tabloids. And they're pushing around the police department. They're getting into people's medical records. I'm trying to can anybody remember where a high profile person here in the United States have had their medical records compromised like that? I don't know a case. I honestly cannot think of a celebrity who has had their medical records compromised in that way. Well, Sonia Johnson, that's exactly what I'm trying to not say, but I'm saying it. And that's why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it. If anybody has been paying attention, that's exactly what it is. But I'd rather dance around it just to make sure that the point is made. So that really shocks me. I have been such an Anglophile ever since the first time I watched a 007 movie. Ever since I watched To Serve with Love, all I could think about, I got to get over there to London. Oh my God, it must be so. I can't wait to see all of those stately homes and all of the pomp and circumstance, which is why it surprises me. Well, TMCD, exactly, exactly. Megan managed to go and have a baby. Oh, well, I'm sorry, the Sussexes, they had their baby, right? In California, right? In the Golden State. And people said, why would they move to California if they're worried about the paparazzi? Wait until they get out there. That's blah, 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 blah. And yet, very little to show for it. Yes, there's the occasional Megan has went to the dentist. Harry and Meghan went to lunch and that kind of thing. That happens to everybody. But I'm just very, very surprised and very disappointed. I expected so much more from the United Kingdom. And the real shame is, as I said so many times, I don't blame the subjects of the king. No, the working class people have nothing to do with this. Most of them don't give a toss about Harry and Meghan, the royal family. They're going about their business. It's the really diehard royalists that I have a beef with. It's the Brexit minded people that I have a beef with because I don't think most people care. But the sad thing is that the tabloid has become the face of Britain to most people in the world. And again, most of us know better. It is not the British people. It is not really Salt Island. That's just a colorful colloquium for the establishment that is the real headache. But the people there, especially the further north you go, the nicer people are. I tell you that. The you get by the time you get to Liverpool, you've never had it so good. I'm telling you. I met some of the nicest people. I met nice people in London. I met even nicer people outside of London. And in Scotland, I felt like I was at home. I'm just like, these people are so nice. So do not blame the British people. Do not blame the British people. The tabloids have a chokehold on the information. And because they're in fear that, as Harry said, they're afraid they're losing control, they want to get onto the TikTok and into all of the media platforms so that they can keep their presence known, so that they can use their influence to influence people all over everywhere. But do not blame the people. It is the media industrial complex. It is their connection to people in the government and, of course, to all the courtiers and such. And sadly, William seems to um, gain strength or backbone or whatever from his connection, whatever it might be, to the tabloid media. It's very sad. It's very sad because they have become the face of the UK. But I want everyone to look beyond that. It is not the people. It is not the people. Those hardcore people that you see on television, those people that you encounter in the comment section, they don't speak for Britain. They're a particular sort. So anyway, I hope that let me see, meeting the police over deleted emails. Yeah, meeting with police over deleted emails. I'm just going through this really fast. Oh, that was about half of the thing anyway. So last year, Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos' name. Okay, we saw that already. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Thank God. Hopefully, the influence of a former prime minister would be enough to help because really the strongest voice against all of these tabloids are is Prince Harry. Prince Harry is what keeps them up at night. He has the will, he has the time, and most importantly, he has the money. And as they say, the man with the last word is the man with the deepest pockets. Uh, thank you so much, Baron. I am proud to be part of the Scottish culture. If you are ever in Glasgow, which I love Glasgow, please give me a shout out. I loved Glasgow, and I listen. I almost didn't go, but I wanted to go to the Dumfries house. And I don't know if you ever heard this story, but I wanted to go to the Dumfries house. And I'm like, how can I be in Edinburgh, and not go to Dumfries house? Plus, I had had the intention of going to Glasgow anyway, but I was like, I don't know, kind of tired at that point because I'd been all over the place. This is like 2 months of travel I was on. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm going. Of course I'm going. And it was so, so great. And the best thing that happened was I was waiting for the train and I went and pushed that button at the platform and the lady was like, "Hello," with that very thick Scottish accent. And she's like, "Oh, you missed it." So anyway, I missed the train, right? And she asked me, she said, "Is there anyone else with you on the platform?" I said, "Well, there's a couple of guys over there, but I'm not traveling with them. But they're like the only other people I see." I mean, she was on a surveillance camera, so she could see me clearly. And she said, "I'm going to send you a taxi so that we can take you to another train station. Otherwise, you'd have a very long wait for the train." I was like, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "You shouldn't have to wait that long." So they sent a taxi free of charge. They sent a taxi to the train station, the one that was closest to Dumfries' house. And I went to whatever town or whatever to the train station and I was able to get back to Edinburgh like that. And then I think I spent another night there, and then I went back south to London or whatever it was. So that was really, really cool. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, and I was trying to give the taxi driver a tip. He refused to take it, but he was very nice too. And um, I got to tell you too, when you leave Edinburgh, um, it's a little hard to understand everybody, so you got to listen very closely. You got to listen very close. I've learned that too. You have to listen very close. I was trying to talk to someone at the train station, and the first couple of words I got, the after that, it was like I fell off a cliff. I couldn't understand a word he said, but it was so cool, and it was very nice. And I'm going to say this again because I like to be fair. I do make fun of the Royals, but it doesn't mean I hate any of them. Everybody had good things to say about Charles because of the Dumfries House. The people who lived around the Dumfries House in Cumnock, they said he brought a lot of jobs, etc., etc. So again, people had nothing but nice things to say about Charles, especially in regards to the Dumfries House, because it did create some job opportunities for people, which makes me sad that he's such a, you know, such a disappointment in other areas, but yet he can do so many things very well. But he's a product of that family. He's a product of that family. So, anyway, thank you, Marie, and thanks for being here today. Okay. Sorry about that. I went on and on, didn't I? But I have some very fond memories of being in Scotland. All right, so I have a soundbite to play for you guys. Now, I had this yesterday, and I was like, nah, I'm not interested. But now I am. So thank you, Glow, for sharing this. The sound quality is probably not going to be so great, but the reason why I want to talk about it is because they are talking about the tabloid media, and Katie Price is, I guess she's like an influencer, a reality star, um, a spokesperson for teeth whitening. She's had all kind of procedures, cosmetic procedures and stuff, and she is kind of like one of those people that's famous for the sake of being famous. I don't know if she has any other talent except for cultivating her fame. And anyway, but otherwise, she seems really nice. I don't know a whole lot about her. I don't think I've ever watched a full anything that she was on, but I certainly know of her because she's always in the tabloids. Okay. And I do think in some regards they have, okay, well, I'll let you hear her words. Okay. Okay. Katie Price. Katie Price. Kelly Price is the singer. Katie Price is her. There we go.
Story in the Independent about Prince Harry. What's going on here?
They will.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Not that one. This one.
How are you? Good to talk to you again.
You know what? I love it with Dawn because in the book I do write a letter to the press. Now, when I started back in the day when Dawn was at the Daily Star as well, I mean, I had a great relationship with the media. But the past, I don't know if it's social media or what, but I'd say the past like 10, 15 years, it's like they've turned on me. And like, there's only so much. I think there's one particular red top that seemed to just want to just bring me down and down and down. And I don't understand it. It's like a form of bullying. Like, I love doing what I do. I love working with the press. And I miss it. I want to do all my photo shoots and interviews. But it's like, come on, guys, enough's enough. I think you've said enough. Like, what else do they want to do? They're not going to bring me down.
What would be your advice, Dawn, on that?
I think Katie's got a point with the social media. I think that is sort of like not helping any situation. It inflames everything. So I think, you know, by Katie writing her book again and, you know, being the Katie, you know, that she is, she's always been strong. She's always stood up for herself, which is to be admired in a very, very difficult business. So fair play, girl. Go for it.
Katie, you've talked, just one more thing. You've talked.
How are you? Good to talk to you again.
Okay, so that was what she said. She's had a on and off again relationship with the press. She's obviously is a very strong person. Otherwise, they would have destroyed her a long time ago. And I don't know a whole lot about her, but I do believe she has a special need child that, as far as I know, they don't get involved with that a lot. As far as I know, I don't read those articles about her really, but like I said, I certainly know of her. And I guess you could say she's probably more famous than Stacey Solomon, but she's also someone who I believe is like a reality star. So, you know, God bless them. I don't have anything against reality people. They work hard. They you know, they cultivate their persona, and they have to deal with a lot of stuff like anybody else would. So, you know, they're influencers. God bless them. Okay, so now let me get to the part about Harry.
If you feel ridiculous.
Dawn's got a story.
Uh-oh. Oh boy.
About Prince Harry. What's going on here?
This is based on a programme that went out last night. I believe Tabloid's on trial, and Harry gave an exclusive interview to the reporters involved in that, talking about all aspects of his life. But the one aspect that has picked up headlines in the newspapers is the fact that he won't bring his wife Meghan back to the UK over safety fears, and he says that it's basically, you know, bad reporting in the newspapers will have an effect on people reading them, and maybe a risk to Meghan's safety if she comes back, because people will believe what they read in the newspapers.
Well, we can see Harry speaking about this.
All it takes is one lone actor, one person, and whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. It's one of the reasons why I won't bring my wife back to this country.
He also discussed how the press painted his late mother, Princess Diana, as being paranoid.
I think paranoia it's a very interesting word, because yes, then it could be paranoia, but then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. You know, same with my mother. You know, there is evidence to suggest that she was being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked, and yet still today the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid. But she wasn't paranoid. She was absolutely right.
Katie, I'm wondering if you've got a bit of sympathy there with Harry.
You know, my mum messaged me last night and said, "Are you watching this show?" And it was obviously that show. And I will read it. I mean, watch it, because I can see similarities myself. Like, I had an acid attack a few weeks ago on my car outside my front door. And I think the way the world is going at the moment, I agree, there's so many knife crimes, acid attacks. It is worrying to go out. And it only takes one person to do something. It is, and you know, the media, I have to say, not every time they are accurate of what they write, but people do believe everything. So I think sometimes bad journalism doesn't go down too well, but you know, these days it is clickbait. Because of social media, everyone has a voice now. So I think with the media, the more damning the story or the headline, because sometimes it might be a damning headline, but the story is different to the headline. It's just to get clickbait. I mean, it's very different to what it used to be. I'm sure Dawn will agree with that.
Have you seen, Katie, the story on the BBC News website we could put up on the screen? 8-year ADHD.
Now, of course, that is Jeremy Vine's show, right? And the very same language that Jeremy Vine used over a year ago is the same language that Harry used, including if someone took some acid or if someone took a knife, right? All it takes, and Jeremy Vine said, well, he believed that the person that was stalking him on social media and such was trying to find someone to go after him by proxy. That was his words, not mine, to do something to him. He said, oh, if I had a chance to speak to this person, I'm sure they're a complete coward. Interesting how he's able to articulate something so thoroughly when it has to do with his well-being, but it seems like they all get amnesia, or they are from a river in Egypt, denial. All of a sudden, they want to talk about a river in Egypt, or they act like they're from that river in Egypt, denial. And they want to downplay and limit how serious the threat is when it's Meghan. And this is why when you hear someone say that something is racist and you don't clearly see it for yourself, it's when the standard suddenly changes. When it suddenly changes, when all of a sudden what was obviously the case for, let's say, Kate, suddenly there's a bunch of doubt when it comes to Meghan. And one of the ways they justify or gaslight is to say, well, it's not because she's black, it's because she's an American. They always have an escape route. There's always a way to escape. And I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. If you are that white person and you are arguing against the person who feels as though or believe that they have been the victim of racism, think carefully about what you say. Look deep inside and try to understand, why is this my reflex? Why is it the first thing I want to do is say that it's not so? I've had that happen to me, where someone mentioned watermelon and fried chicken and everything like that. And I looked at it, and of course, this written thing, I didn't want to believe that that's what it was about, because I'm just like, who would do that in 2009? Well, I know exactly who would. And then when I showed it to another white person, don't you know, come on, are you sure? And at that point, that's when I started thinking, what the F did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? Why do you believe somebody you never met and you don't trust my opinion about something directed toward me? Is it because you want to make me believe that there is no racism anymore? Or deep down inside, everybody is good? No, they're not. They're not. Some people are rotten to the core. But the thing is, Jeremy Vine could clearly see a threat when it comes to himself. And I'm not saying that he's racist. I'm just saying he can clearly see a threat when it's about him. But when it's about Meghan, then all of a sudden there's gray areas. There's misunderstandings. There's a lot of questions. These publications, these tabloids, have been stoking hatred toward Meghan. And just like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, part of their personality disorder is they would love for her to come over so we can get some pictures and we can, boost our bottom line. We can make some money. But the other part of their personality disorder tries to find everything that they could possibly do to make life as miserable as possible. If you're telling people, if you're writing in your paper, will you boo Harry and Meghan if they come to Britain? Actually, they usually save that for Meghan. Meghan's afraid she's going to be booed. That's why she's not coming. And all it takes is one lone person to scream at the top of their lungs, and that is what they will write about. They won't write about the great reception. They won't write about all the squatties who came out to see Meghan, all of the people who have supported them over the years. That's not a story. The story is that one person who crawled out of their mama's basement, who peeled themselves away from their computer and their cryptocurrency and such, that come out so that they could make trouble. And that is the story. That is what they will talk about for an entire week on GB News. That's why they want Meghan to come over, so they can abuse her. It is a cult of personalities at these tabloids. And one of their favorite sports is abusing people. Most of the stuff that they write about is not in the public's best interest. It is to fill your mind with a lot of negative thoughts and opinions. If you don't know what to think, you're in the right place because they're going to tell you what to think. It's a hell of a way to make money. It really is. It's a hell of a way to make money. But that's what some people do for a living, is they try to figure out something terrible, a little thread that they can pull on to make the best of situations a complete embarrassment or a failure. And there are people who want nothing better than to see that, because they have given people this drug called negativity. And the only way to satisfy it, the only way to get their high, is to go back to that source of news and find something else negative. To me, to Americans, why are you of a country is an enemy to me? We need to break ties with country friendship. I'm not sure I understand that one. Dansby says, it's so sad how there are people that will do the worst for money. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Angela Levin doesn't believe all that stuff she says. But she knows that the more negative stuff she can push out there, the better her chances are that they'll have her write the next royal book. They will invite her onto the next show. And the network, if you can call GB News or Talk TV a network, the convenient thing for them is that it's Angela Levin who has said this, not us. We don't feel that way. But we invited her on as a royal expert, as a royal author. I mean, she's not a professor of literature. She's not some professor of English history or anything like that. She's just an old lady that wears the wrong lipstick that has some twisted opinion. That's it. It doesn't mean that she's so smart. She's just sly and clever. I mean, she don't even have enough sense to buy a decent rouge for her lips. Look at that. Would a sane person would a sane person do that to their lips? I don't know who she's trying to entice. I don't want to know who she's trying to entice. I don't know if it's the garbage collector, the bus driver, the old hobo feeding the pigeons. I don't know who she's trying to impress. But I don't want to know. I don't ever want to see her kiss anything or anybody ever. That's that old creepy aunt that your parents just push you toward at the family dinners. That's who that is. The old creepy aunt. Probably got a funny smell too. Anyways, so that's what I had to say about that. Now, I mentioned the seaweed yesterday and how this may, and I don't have a lot of proof, but I'm thinking this may have been the moment when Kate was trying to figure out, I got to get out of here. Well, I found another photo of her having a lengthy conversation. Could you imagine? This is how twisted the tabloids are. We live in a world where people who have gone to some very fine schools, they have some good educations. I don't doubt that they have fine educations, and they actually sit around and write stories accusing Meghan of being bored with the royal family, and she didn't want to have to walk behind Kate and all that stuff they come up with. So Kate's won. She gets to stay. I'm just going to declare her the winner, right? She is the winner. She gets to stay. She gets to go to Wales and have a lengthy discussion about seaweed, right? She gets to stand there and take the pictures, do all that jazz hand stuff, look interested, all that kind of stuff. If this seaweed is what turns the table on the environmental calamity that we're headed toward, you know what? I will eat my hat. I will I will take my words back. If this moment right here is what changes the direction of this global warming, this catastrophe that we're facing when it comes to the environment. And I will even acknowledge Kate Middleton's contribution the day she and Voldemort stood there on a dock somewhere in Wales and had this very informative moment with a big pile of seaweed. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. So far, I don't think I'm wrong when I say that this has got to be one of the most humiliating moments of her life. No glam squad, no makeup. Um, and then, of course, somebody gave her some flowers. And you know what? I told y'all yesterday, look at this. See how she's got that stuff in her hand? You ever touch seaweed? It's kind of sticky and everything. Well, take a look at that little girl's dress back there. What makes me think that little girl was used as a dish towel for Kate? I'm just saying, I have no proof. But she cleaned her hands, grabbed them flowers, and got the hell out of there. Look at her face. Everything about her face looks like she's escaping from the Sandinistas, like she had been kidnapped by the Sandinistas and she's trying to get out of there as fast as possible. That's what her face is saying. Get me out of here. Some foreign mercenaries are after me. I got to go. Now, is it a pinata? Is it the hot air balloon from the Paris Olympics? No. Is it the Hindenburg? Oh, the humanity. Nope. Is it Robert Jobson? How did you how did you notice me? Oh, I don't know. Is it because you're so stuffed you can't put your arms down to your sides? I don't know. Anyway, I haven't heard this myself. So I'm going to play it. I caught this just before I went on, and I don't know what they're talking about. I didn't have time to listen to the whole thing. So we'll find out together. I'm sure it has something to do with that book about Kate, the book of Kate. Now, you see, what really surprises me is that I never thought the life story of Kate Middleton would warrant a hardcover book. I thought you could probably put her life on a back of a matchbook and still have room to expand, right? No, maybe even a pamphlet like you would pick up from, I don't know, a couple of Jehovah Witnesses or something. Nope. They have found some kind of way to fill up an entire book with Kate Middleton's life, which I think is pretty shallow. Probably reads a lot like no, I better not say it. Okay, let me just go on. I better not say that.
Juicy revelations. One of them is about a breakup on the phone.
Yeah, I think I think William soon regretted. I think as soon as he put down the phone that he'd done that. But I think at the time is that he was fairly young in his mid-20s, and she was too, and they probably were the right couple at the wrong time. And he felt he didn't really want to get married at that time. I think soon afterwards, when she was seen out enjoying herself with her sister and enjoying dates and enjoying life, and he was stuck away on an army barracks, he soon realized he'd made a big error, and he had to woo her back.
Yes, he sure did. He sure did. Thank you so much, Robert. Always so great to talk to you. And your book, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, hits bookshelves worldwide next Tuesday.
Yeah, we know. On Megan's birthday, we know. And did you hear him gasp? Did you hear that? It's almost like Darth Vader has an English accent. Okay, so that's what he had to say. No juicy details. I'm telling you, there's not much to that book. I don't know if you watched the video that I posted earlier, but there was a scathing review of the book, and it was not good. I wonder what Kate is describing here. Is this why their marriage has been so strong? Is this how their marriage has endured? I don't know what she's describing, but Willie looks excited, right? Those were the good old days, right? Now, Charles and his temper. Charles has a bit of a temper, as you know. Well, today he had to sign a book, and it all went well. No staff lost their jobs. Nobody had to watch him bare his bottom teeth and all that kind of stuff. It was the only thing that really was kind of a hiccup was that you had to hear the story of how sometimes his pens fail him. he did say that, he never knows if his pen is going to work or not. But anyway, there was an article about, what makes King Charles furious? Pretty much anything. And that's the truth. He has a bad case of old man. Old people are mean. He gives old people a bad name. The rumor started, keen student of the Windsors will recall, with a leaky pen, September of 2022, shortly after King Charles III ascended the throne after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. He was signing a visitor's book at Hillsborough Castle in Northern Ireland when he encountered a particularly troublesome pen. Now, that's their very erudite and polite way of saying that somebody handed him an exploding pen. And any old way, oh God, that's what it says here. Oh God, I hate this. The newly minted monarch exclaimed as he handed the pen over to his wife. Well, you mean to tell me the pen is leaking, and rather than, I don't know, grabbing a tissue or something like that, oh God, I hate this. And then, of course, Camilla, she chimes in with, I can't bear. No, actually, this is what he said. I can't bear this bloody thing. What they do every stinking time. I mean, it was so childish. The moment captured on camera led newsfeed and then went viral. The meme gods were not done with Charles, however, and a few days later, on September 10th, during a formal Ascension Council ceremony where Charles III was officially proclaimed the new monarch, another pen-related temper tantrum occurred. As part of the ceremony, Charles III had to sign a series of official documents. When it came time to sign the proclamation of accession, Charles, who was seen gesturing with comedic irritation and anger to aides about the pen and its holder awkward placement on the desk, he had a fit. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Well, we know about this one. This is when he had a fit about his sleeve. This, by the way, I want you to take a good look at this. If Charles III was just some bureaucrat working in some council office somewhere, he would be baring his teeth at a fern or a ficus tree or something like that. There would be no one around to scurry about and try to solve these problems for him. He would probably use a ballpoint pen like everybody else instead of one of those fancy calligraphy pens. But yeah, so this gives you a glimpse of what life would be like if Charles was not Charles III, if he was just Charles Windsor of I don't know, Wessex or Sussex or something like that. Nobody would give a rat's behind. He'd be sitting there all by himself. Oh God, I hate this. This happens every stinking time. Oh my God, Camilla, they've ruined my suit. That's what would happen. Nothing. But instead, in front of a room full of people, millions of people around the world watching the news feed, he has a meltdown. And look at how, let me tell you something, that would be my last day of work. If that man would have inched that little tray to the edge of that table and it would have fell on the floor, you know what would happen, don't you? I would stand there and look down at it right there with everybody else. I ain't picking that up. You knocked it down, you pick it up. I don't know what it is about me. Maybe it's because, I don't know. I guess it's that black gene, that African gene. Maybe that's what it is. But I think there's a little Nell Carter in all of us. If you're not familiar, Nell Carter, give me a break. Um, there's a little Nell Carter in me that'd be like, You want me to pick that up? Or maybe not even Nell Carter, maybe Florence Johnston, right? There's a little Marla Gibbs inside of me that'll be like, you want me to pick that up? Well, you right there. You pick it up. Otherwise, what could I say? That would be my last day at work. I don't I don't to me, having somebody baring their bottom teeth at me like some kind of mad dog, that wouldn't go over too well because I would look at that as threatening behavior. I would look at that as a threat, and that wouldn't go over too well. I might have to show my bottom teeth too. Or I tell you what, the next time, and I do mean the next time that he wants to show his bottom teeth, show him this. Yeah, pucker up some bright red lipstick. You show your bottom teeth, I'm going to show you some old lady red lipstick. Iris Demonia says Baron Kate was describing his dingleberries. Well, I tell you, Iris, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I think that they have a procedure where they can freeze dry them and remove them. I think so. I think they use like Freon or something, and they can get those dingleberries off in no time. I guess we're talking about the same thing. I'm not sure. Um, look at him. Look at him. He started. Listen. I'm just gonna say this one more time. When I saw him inching that tray toward the end of that desk, I would have just walked out. That would have been the end of me and the royal family. I'd have just walked out. That's so childish. It really is. Silly. Too old for that. And here's the one where, oh God, it's going everyone. Camilla, oh, I hate that every stinking time. This was the situation where they handed him the exploding pen. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer, all the way from Switzerland. Now, isn't this a sight for sore eyes? Or is it just a sight? You decide. William, let me see here. Last week, Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace made some financial and staffing disclosures to the press. Prince William actually got mildly criticized for refusing to reveal how much he pays in taxes, something his father always did as Prince of Wales. William didn't like that mild criticism, so he pivoted to a different story. He fired Queen Camilla's sister, Annabel Elliot. Now, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think it had anything to do with his taxes. The thing is, who cares about Annabel Elliot? That's not a story. The woman was around doing absolutely nothing for so long. I bet you they forgot why she was pretending to be there. They simply just had her on the family payroll. She didn't serve a purpose. They got people to do that. It's like Richard Simmons' housekeeper said, I'm not his housekeeper, I'm his companion. We hired someone else to clean the house. Okay? And that's what Annabelle was doing. Annabelle was no longer fluffing pillows. They hired somebody else to do it. It was just a way to take care of the Parker Bowles family. I know because I'm a royal expert. The job prerequisite is just, oh, her only position was to fluff the pillows. I forgot, in order to be a royal expert, it helps to have an English accent. Um, but yeah, that's it. I'm a royal expert. Uh, Prince Harry, Prince Harry. I still, I still have nightmares because of this. Prince Harry. That voice. Why does she bare her teeth? Have y'all figured that out yet? Prince Harry. Anyway, so they say he wants to keep the Parker Bowles family at arm's length. Let me see here. Annabelle, interior designer. For nearly 20 years, she collected hundreds of thousands of pounds. Good God, of taxpayers' money. Of taxpayers' money. Hundreds of thousands of pounds. William fired her, and the staff made a big deal about how he's going in a new direction with the duchy. Well, Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast is emphasizing that there's an undercurrent of scandalous beef between William and his stepmother, Queen Camilla. I don't know. They seem to get along pretty well as far as I can tell. Maybe they want you all to believe that so nobody talks about his finances. So nobody talks about the entire royal family's finances. Right, Legs? Personally, I don't think it's a beef as much as Camilla's toys with William whenever she wants to put him in his place. And honestly, just as it, honestly, I'm sorry. And he mostly just has to take it. Some highlights from Sykes' latest Royalist column. So I don't know. Do you all want me to make a video out of that column or not? Let me know. Let me take a look at it. I don't know if it's long enough to warrant a video. It's not that long. I don't think it's enough for a video. I thought it was more to it than that. It's really not. I'll do a little something. We'll see. Okay, let's move on. I thought they were getting along very well. Now, oh, you know what, guys? I'm almost done. We're going to end with the Last Supper. Let me see. Iris Simonia said that was some kind of ugly. Thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Okay, now, as you all know, it's a very stressful time with the presidential elections and everything. And of course, you know, these vicious attacks on the Sussexes. So, in order to, I guess, I've been trying to get you all to focus on other things. One of my favorite is just to enjoy art or watch a good documentary. If you can't travel on a plane, find a good travel video, right? Find a good travel video. Anyway, we're going to end with The Last Supper. I did not know how many versions of The Last Supper there were. There are a lot. And just about every prominent artist of the day and some that are unknown have made a version of The Last Supper. Again, I am done. So if you all have to go, you can go ahead and skedaddle. I'm just going to go through these and then I'm done. So this is the most famous one. Everybody knows this one. Leonardo da Vinci. Remember, this was in the movie Da Vinci Code. One of the things that people love about this painting is the perspective. See how it makes the room look very three-dimensional as the ceiling and the walls seem to convex into one small square in the background. Well, that is pretty clever. And here, check it out. If the Last Supper had taken place in March of 2022, let's say by July of 2022, you know what would happen? They would have had to do the Last Supper by Zoom. This is a Zoom call of the Last Supper. This is a Zoom call of the Last Supper. Isn't that fun? Yes, Jesus would have been there all by himself. All of the other people would have they would have been in other places. And how about this? Even worse, the Last Supper canceled. Per global pandemic, the Last Supper was canceled. Right? But now, listen, these are just the fun ones. This is not all of the examples I wanted to show you. And then right here, what if they tried to go ahead and have that Last Supper anyway? Well, next thing you know, those jackbooted thugs, the Gestapo, would have come running in there and they would have maybe arrested everybody. They would have had to disinfect the table and everything. Scary stuff. That's what would have happened if the global pandemic would have happened during biblical times. Now, this is the painting as you would see it if you went to Italy. The painting is in quite a state because Leonardo da Vinci, from what I hear, he was experimenting using, I think they said egg whites or whatever. And because of the humidity and the dampness, and over time, the pigments began to fade. The paint was flaking. It's a fresco, right? And a fresco is supposed to hold the color very well. But, that's where they put the paint onto a wet plaster. But this technique was a complete failure. Good night, Bonzola. Sleep well. Again, you guys, I'm done. If you need to get out of here, I'm just sharing this with anybody who's interested. Now, here's another example of the Last Supper. This one, I believe, is done in a mosaic tile. Last Supper, Moriel Cathedral mosaic, Palermo, Sicily. Now, the great thing about the mosaic tile, you could take the pieces of glass and stone and break them, just fragment them as small as possible and use it in place of paint. And that way it never fades. And the other clever thing is they could use gold foil, gold leaf, and put it on the back of the glass. And then you get that very shiny effect like that. Very beautiful. And this is a 13th century Orthodox Russian icon. Now, back in 1497, the Last Supper was black people. You see there? It looks like the Jackson family Last Supper. Where all them black people come from? And they even got afros, no less. You see there? It's amazing how in some places the Last Supper was a bunch of white folks. But the further east you go, they started getting black. Everybody black. Mother Mary, St. Peter, everybody black. Everybody's using sulfur 8. What else? Royal Crown, right? Everybody, the ladies are using their, what do you call it? Their fashion fair cosmetics. But that was the Orthodox Russian Last Supper. And also notice that not every Last Supper, they're sitting at that straight table. Now check this out. Now this is very, I want to say kind of a ghetto Last Supper. Not only can you get your feet scraped, but you could have some wing dings. Imagine that. Some catfish and getting your feet scraped at the same time. The only thing is, I hope everybody ain't using the same towel. See that towel in the back there? The washing of feet and the Supper from what is that? Maesto by Dorcio. Oh, that place was open from 1308 to 1311. Well, imagine that. From 1308 to 1311, you could have your Last Supper and get your feet done at the same time. You get a little pedicure. You get a pedicure, some catfish for your Last Supper, and then just wait for something else biblical to happen. And then this one is pretty cool. This is like the Silver family. Instead of the Jacksons, you got the Silvers. Remember the Jacksons, they were a little darker, and the Silver family, they were all light skinned. So this is, and I think it was more Silvers than Jacksons, right? I don't know. It might have been even, but here's the Silvers' Last Supper. Let me see. Simon Ushakov, icon of the Mystical Supper. Now I like that, the Mystical Supper. That almost sounds like a band. Simon Usafkov and the Mystical Supper. Right? That's a good name for a band. If I was in Ukraine and I started a rock band tomorrow, I would call it the Simon Ushakov and the Mystical Suppers. That's their version of the Pips. And then there's this one, miniature depiction from circa 1230. Now, in case you don't know it, whenever you see the letter C like that, that means circa. That means about 1230. Circa 1920, that means around 1920. So either it says C or it says circa. I remember the day I found out what that meant. I was like, is that what that means? I had a real Phoebe Buffet moment. Okay. The next one. Last Supper by Home Huguet. And that was 1470. This one is pretty cool. I kind of like that one. And notice they're not all sitting on one side of the table. See there? They're all sitting around the table. The ones on the other side are standing up, of course. I think this one may have mosaic tiles because the way it looks, maybe. Antoinette Kennedy, hi. Yeah, well, I'm almost done. I'm just sharing a little art on the way out, like I like to do sometime. And check it out, Communion of the Apostles by Fra Angelico with donor portrait. I don't know what that means, donor portrait. That was 1440 to 1441. That's how long it took them to paint this. I'm guessing this must be a mural somewhere, but well, look at there. They got an L-shaped table. So they are doing a communion and a supper, which I think is more sanitary than washing your feet at the Last Supper, right? I'd rather do a communion than to sit up there and watch people getting their feet scraped. And this one, this looks like one of the Dutch artists, right? I don't forget the name of that artist. Remember the one where they have that little round mirror in the back? Well, this looks like that same artist. The Last Supper by Dierik Bouts, right? 1464 to 1468. I like the very vertical, it looks like the photo is, but it's not. That's the way that it was painted. I've seen some other like Flemish artists that paint it like that. And I'm guessing this was a Flemish artist. I love this one. I love this so much that I wanted to make it as big as possible. So I have to go to the next page to tell you who it is. But I love this one. I think I like this one better than Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah. But I'm going to show you my favorite one. I think I have like maybe four more, and I'm going to show you my favorite one. I think you're going to like it too. But this one is beautiful. I like that. There it is. Domenico uh, Charlando, 1480, depicting Judas' separation. Now, I don't know what they mean by Judas' separation. That must be Judas on this side of the table. Like nobody can trust him with his 30 pieces of silver. So they cast him to the other side of the table, maybe. Isn't that beautiful, though? That is beautiful. And this one is carved wood. This is a wood carved Last Supper. Very three dimensional. It is very three dimensional. It looks like it's made from two different pieces of carved wood, but I think it's pretty cool. Hello, Ivy here. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Ivy. Mary H says, Mom said was crossing the Mississippi River. She had never seen it. I thought she was crossing the River Jordan. She was excited to cross the Mississippi. I get excited whenever I cross the Mississippi just because it's so famous. I always get excited when I see it. And this one is beautiful. Now, this is not my favorite, but I like this one too. I like the very soft kind of, everybody seems to have a nice glow, like they use oil of Olay, right? They all look like they use, as a matter of fact, it seems as though everybody's looking at a bar of oil of Olay, doesn't it? Is that blasphemous? But doesn't it kind of look like Jesus is like, listen, if you want beautiful skin, try oil of Olay. Oh, that's so bad. But it does. It kind of looks like a oil of Olay ad. Okay. Let me get serious. I mean, this is biblical. I better stop. I'm sure Jesus has a sense of humor. As a matter of fact, if you've ever seen me in swimwear, you would know that God has a sense of humor. Trust me. If you've ever seen me in swimwear, there would be no doubt that God has a sense of humor. Just trust me on that one. First Eucharist depicted by Juan de Juanes in the Last Supper, 1562. Okay. And the Last Supper by Michael Damaskinos. Wow, bright colors. By the way, the very blue, the cobalt blue, like that, blue was the most expensive pigment. And whenever you see someone in blue, especially in some of the old world paintings, that blue, that was an indication of wealth because the blue pigment, it was hard to find a good way to create blue without using cobalt. And cobalt, they used to bring it on the Silk Road. I think the cobalt mostly came from the Middle East, and it was very hard to come by. And an artist would, if they had a choice between gold, like raw gold, or cobalt, they would take the cobalt, and then they could grind it up and use it to create their pigment. Very, very important pigment, the cobalt. Okay, so we're getting close to my favorite. I think I have one or two more. This one, if this don't look like somebody's mama's basement, if this don't look like some old juke joint. Now, honestly, if you had to create an authentic Last Supper, I'm pretty sure it would look more like this than anything else. I'm just guessing. It would probably look more like this than anything else. Very dark and dank, and you know what I'm saying? People hiding or trying to be safe or whatever. So The Last Supper by Tintoretto, 1592 to 1594. But yeah, but I tell you what, I bet you they make some good catfish. Remember, the worse the restaurant look, the better the food is. And I bet they got some hell of a good catfish coming out of that place. Uh Valentine de Bourlon, 1625 to 1626. Wow, that's a long time ago. I like this one. I like this one. That one's beautiful. Okay, you guys, we're almost there. I promise. I'm almost done. Let me take a quick peek. How many do I have left? I got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. 5 left. The Last Supper, Dark Side of the Eucharist by Benjamin West, mid 18th century. So this one is not so old, the mid 18th century. That one's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. But notice, you know what? I want you all to notice something. Notice that at this point, when it's so much easier to get a blue pigment, to get cobalt, even though it's so much easier to get it, notice that they're not using it in that last painting. Here is not so prominent. Yeah. Here he's wearing purple. But yeah, I just noticed that they have Jesus actually wearing black. Okay. Interesting. All right. And Last Supper by Tiepolo. Oh wow, that one didn't that one's messed up. I can't see the date on it. Oh. Oh, it's 1760. I don't know why I did that, but it's 1760. So that one's not that old. It must be laundry day. Look at that sheet they got there in the back. That's weird. Why would they have a sheet in front of the door? I bet you there's some purpose for that. Maybe because of privacy or something. They didn't want the door to open up, and you know what I mean? Oh, you do? You like the dark? Oh, okay. Well, wait till you see my favorite one. We're almost there. I got 2 more before my favorite comes. This one, this is kind of like film noir with that very haunting shadow. Now, I'm going to say this one looks very authentic. Not the way that they're seated, of course, but the golden glow. Oh my God, that's beautiful. The Last Supper by Bouvier. Bouvier. Yeah, Bouvier. 19th century. Bouveret. 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 Oh, well. Okay. Are you all ready to see my favorite? Are you ready to see my favorite? This is it. Last Supper, cowl block. In some depiction, John the Apostle is placed on the right side of Jesus, some on the left. I love this one. That bright red, right? I love this one. I love this one. This one is my favorite. This one is my favorite. I love this one. Yep. I love this one. I think this one is my favorite. And look at the detail. Look at the marble tile on the floor. That is beautiful. Okay, so that is it for today. This is just the last fun one. It's not the Last Supper, it's the last brunch. Wait a minute. Who ordered the caviar omelet? 50 per person. That doesn't sound right. Let me see. It wasn't I. I only had the English muffin and five mimosas. Five mimosas. That sounds like the last brunch. That sounds like a bunch of friends. You always got somebody shady who orders the most expensive thing and don't want to pay up. So you've seen the Last Supper, and that is the last brunch. Now, this is it. Does anybody know this young lady? Have you all ever seen her? She is very popular because she made such a fool out of Donald J. Trump. Out of Donald J. Trump. Oh my goodness, it was so good. Let me set it up for you. Donald Trump went to Chicago today to meet with Black women journalists. Why in the world did he do that? I don't know. That was a big mistake. And during this meeting with the journalists, he actually had the capacity to say that Kamala Harris was Indian. No, what did he say? Indian? Yeah, I think he said she was Indian, and he didn't know that she was Black because at some point she decided that she would. Anyway, it was terrible the way he said it. It made absolutely no sense, and he made such a fool out of himself. And anyway, this young lady, she was the one asking the questions, and anyway, it did not go well. It did not go well. Um, Let me see. What is her name? Oh my goodness, I lost her name. Where is it? You know, I thought by now somebody was going to put her name up there, but that's okay. I'll find it. Um, no, don't worry. I got it. No, please don't help me. Who? Who? Rachel Scott. Rachel Scott. That's her name. Dear mainstream media, this is Rachel Scott. She was one of the journalists at the NABJ interviewing Donald J. Trump. She asked tough questions and didn't let him lie in his answers. This is what an actual journalist does. Take a note. This is what an actual journalist does. Take a note. Oh, thank you, Legs. Rachel Scott. Exactly, Rachel Scott. So, anyway, she is the one who socked it to Donald Trump today, made him look a complete fool. So, that's who's trending right now, just in case you didn't know it. Good job, Rachel Scott. And good job, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. Love you all. It is a pleasure. Thank you so much for trusting me to do this work. And it is August the 1st. Where did the summer go? It is August the 1st. Yeah, she's from ABC News. Anyway, she's pretty, right? Very pretty. Not that that has anything to do with her qualifications. I'm sure she has a fine education and she just happens to be absolutely beautiful. Okay, see y'all tomorrow. Bye from Ivy. Bye for now. Bye. Hello, Ivy here. Bye from Ivy. Bye for now. Bye. Okay. There was a handsome virgin who dreamed of seeing a royal wedding. When Harry met Meghan, everything changed. He became a squatty. Began to Sussex with love and laughter abound. I love that. There's nothing like a handsome virgin, right? Might have to send out for one. The virgin, that is. Might have to send out for one. This is too much fun. I'm having so much fun. Anyway, I'll see y'all. Good night or good morning. Good morning, Connie Palmer.